morning, everyone. Wow, it almost feels a little odd to say that and actually be able to hear a response. Usually, I am talking to a phone or on a camera, and I rarely get to hear a joyous good morning from everyone else. It is a feeling of extreme joy to listen to you all today. And during the chanting, tears were brought in my eyes because of all of us chanting together as one Sangha. It is a really beautiful thing. I would like to first thank the Buddhist Education Committee, the Reopening Committee, and the board for working so hard to help organize this service today. Welcome back to the Tacoma Buddhist Temple. For those of you who have not met me yet, my name is Reverend TADAO KOYAMA. And if that name sounds familiar, yes, I am related to Reverend Dean KOYAMA, who was the minister here, I think, over 20 years ago. So you have another Reverend KOYAMA to put up with, I'm sorry. It is an honor and a privilege to be able to stand in front of you all today and able to talk to you in person. I am certain that all of you have been looking forward to this day for a long time now. It has been a difficult year for all of us. This pandemic has certainly tested the limits of our fortitude and our emotional stability. Yet for many of us, we still have not allowed the COVID-19 pandemic to hinder our ability to listen to the Dharma. And this is part of the central topic of my Dharma talk today. I would like to speak to you all today about the way we adapt as Jodo Shinshu Buddhists. Before the pandemic became a reality for all of us, I am certain that we all had our personal routines and schedules. We probably had certain days where we would go to the grocery store. We had days dedicated to exercise and days where we would go out with friends. For all of us here now, we usually set time aside on Sundays to come to the temple. While I won't go as far as saying that we all took these routines for granted, I believe that we, in a sense, came to expect that nothing would upset these routines and rituals, at least not to this capacity. We certainly did not anticipate that our lives would be altered to the point that all of the outside gathering activities that we all love so much would be stopped against our will. I wonder how we all initially felt about it. Some may think that as Buddhists, we are able to take all of this in stride and weren't upset in the least about the new set of circumstances. We can just meditate, or we can just calmly accept the curveballs that are thrown at us in life. I am certain none of you felt this way. I certainly did not feel this way. If anything, when this first happened, I was overwhelmed with a sense of dread, disappointment, and sorrow. I was just coming back from Japan, and while it was wonderful to see my immediate family, I realized that I would not be able to see all of my friends and extended relatives for a while. Also, I had no idea how long this pandemic would last, or how much longer it will continue to last from now. I am not sure. I think this fact still weighs heavily on our minds. Yet, there is something that I have seen within this Sangha and the other Sanghas of the BCA. The ability to adapt. When the temple doors had to close, I am certain that everyone here had a feeling of sadness and frustration. This is okay. In our tradition of Jodo Shinshu, we don't endeavor to throw away all of our human emotions. I would even go as far as to say that in many ways we need to acknowledge the human condition that causes all of our suffering. Yet just because we become upset or become sad, it doesn't mean that we still aren't able to adapt. Let's take a step back and think about the time in between the temple closing and now. I am certain that many of you have become Zoom experts already. Our board meetings are always full of people on Zoom. Our wonderful president, Crystal Inge, spearheaded the project of transitioning from YouTube services to Zoom services. That way, many of us could enjoy the feeling of a live service, even if it's only through a computer screen, with each other. We are all now wearing masks because of practical reasons and even religious reasons. the Buddhist reason of interdependence. This pandemic has given all of us a harsh reminder about the word interdependence. As Jodo Shinchu Buddhists, I feel that adaptation and change is something that we were told since many of us were young or started coming here. Yet I wonder how many of us, including myself, could ever anticipate a kind of change like this. Looking back, change is what we did. It definitely took some time and some getting used to, but we were still able to do it. All of us were affected by this pandemic. No one is exempt from it. This is one of the teachings of the Buddha. When one of us suffers, we all suffer. However, we don't just dwell in the suffering, we learn from it as well. Reverend Cindy and I were not able to have the dream wedding we were initially planning. Now the Bonbu, or the foolish being in me, filled with blind passions, probably said something like, "Oh, this had to happen to me. Of all the times that the pandemic could have come, it had to come the year that I was planning to get married." This thought definitely crossed my mind when this first happened. However, I didn't realize I was not the only one who was suffering from this. I was not the only one who was affected by this pandemic. We then realized that being married was more important than the ceremony itself. Reverend Cindy and I adapted and officially got married, while Reverend Bridge of the Oakland Buddhist Temple performed the ceremony via Zoom. I am certain many of us here also attended a Zoom wedding at some point. This is another example of adaptation or adaptation that definitely coincides with our teachings. When we listen to the teachings of Shinran and the other 7 masters and the 3 Pure Land Sutras, I sometimes forget that these lessons are never ones and dones. When we hear that change and adaptation happen regardless of our life circumstances, we don't automatically take it to heart. If anything, when a major event happens, we come back to the teachings and once again hear the wise words of Master Shinran and the sutras to reinforce the truth of our lives. The truths about change are there to comfort us as much as guide us. Then as we continue to deeply listen, let us endeavor to take the teachings with us in our daily lives outside of the temple as well. I would like to thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to visit today. I would once again like to thank all of the volunteers and planners who helped make today possible. Until we can meet in person again, please stay safe and say the Nembutsu. Everyone, please join me in Gashi. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo.
Thank you everybody for joining us on this beautiful sunny Sunday morning. It's good to see all of you. Can you hear me? Mm-hmm. Okay. I feel like a cocoon coming out, breaking out of the cocoon and coming out of this beautiful day. But first of all, I'd like to thank Reverend KOYAMA for inviting me to join you on this service, first service of since the pandemic started actually, a year and a half ago. It's really nice to see all of you again. Reverend KOYAMA, from the first day he arrived, he asked me to always join him on the service when we are able to conduct the service in the Hondo. And I'm always grateful for his kindness and invited me to join you. I feel like breaking out of the cocoon, as I said. Well, it's been a year and a half since I joined you. I usually sit in the balcony watching everybody come in and go out, and during the service I usually count how many people are attending. I should pay attention more, but I usually count how many. And I think among all the BCA temples, on average-wise, as compared to the number of members of the Tacoma Buddha Temple, I think we have the greatest number of attendants every Sunday, which is wonderful. And I think this is ability of the past ministers and Sensei Koyama to really lead us in our service. Speaking of cocoon, when you break out of it, you see the world. You see the wide world outside of your own self-centered shell that you are creating yourself. So to break out of this cocoon in a way to attend this service and join you, it's like a new awakening. And Buddhism is a teaching of awareness, as you know, to become aware of the things you were not aware of, to realize the things that you did not realize before. And this is the essence of Buddhist practice, to see, to feel, to understand what we neglect to understand. We have a tendency to take things for granted, and to really not see the things for granted and see the real truth of it is the teachings of Buddhism. So when we are cooped up in our own shell, we create our own world of good and bad, ugly and beautiful, kind and unkindness. Really, it's kind of a self-centeredness that we neglect to see in ourselves often. I'm always right is the attitude that we always have. I do, anyway. My wife is always wrong. I'm always right. So let us really open our eyes wide and see the and feel the wide world of universal truth. That is the essence of Buddhism. To see, to feel, to realize the things that we did not realize and see and feel before. So I hope this will be the beginning of your wide awake, wide-eyed life and see the truth as Buddhism taught. At this time, I'd like to extend my sincere gratitude to all of you and the Temple Sangha members for the support and the kindness that you have extended. I'm going to really, truly retire. As you know, I observed with the wonderful support of the Sangha 88th birthday in last November. So I'm approaching 89. And my legs are wobbly, as you will notice. My mind is not working, and it takes hours and hours to prepare a 2 minutes message. So I thought it's time that I retire, and I talked to Sensei about it, and he kindly understand my position, and this will be my last hope. But I'm going to attend the service. I will be there, but I will not be able to participate as I did before, any kind of service anymore. So I hope you understand my position. Thank you very much. And once again, it's nice to see you again. Thank you.
This is so great to see everyone here. If you really think about it, it kind of feels like a short time, but a long time. Do you feel like we're like, oh yeah, we're here last Sunday, but not really. And thank you to all the ministers, really, for coming together and being a part of this. This is a really special historical day. Reverend Koyama, you made it. This is your first official service. Let's put that on the record. Yay. And I guess, should we say thank you so much to Reverend YUKAWA. Is this your last official service? Reverend Ted for being here, not really retired. And Reverend Cindy, you're also first service. Thank you very much. Eric Hammerstrom, thank you. And Lynn Ray is in the back videotaping, so thank you. This is like a thank you list, so that's all it is, you guys. And thank you to the board. It's been an interesting ride, starting on Zoom and organizing and staying organized, and it's been a lot. It's been great because I think we've accomplished a lot, and also thanks to David Yotsua, who's really kind of not on the board, but he is kind of on the board. So thank you, David, and the reopening committee who organized all of this and is thinking forward about how we continue to reopen in various evolutions as we would need to stay safe with certain things like the Delta coming on. So we just need to stay safe, and so the reopening committee will continue to meet and will continue to communicate how we're going to move forward. Just a couple more announcements. Thank you to the Obon committee. There's the Obon fundraiser drive-through that Kate mentioned. Lynn and Ken has worked really hard on all of the food as well as June. And so it's a small, tight team, but there's been a really good order volume. So I'm sorry that if you forgot to order, the orders are closed. And just a couple more announcements. Thanks to my brother Rick and the facilities team for getting the garden all tidy and cleaned and maintained. I know we had a garden work party last month, but I get updates from my brother about what needs to get done here, so thank you. And he also mentioned, if you notice on the side, there's an apple tree. So if anyone would want to enjoy apples here, I think it'd be a great time to pick those. So don't pull too hard, but please help yourself. So that concludes just my announcements or thank yous, and really I think this is a momentous time. It's been 18 months. It's kind of unbelievable. It's still kind of a shocker. And to be honest, I was like, oh my gosh, is this my last year's present? Because has it already been 2 years? Kate goes, no. So anyway, thank you so much. It's been, like Sensei said, just to hear everyone chanting together, something we haven't done in a long time. So thank you again. And I hope you've enjoyed seeing everyone's smiling face from underneath our masks. So I think we can all say it's been great to see each person. So thank you very much.